Hi, my dear Aries friends. Here is your yearly horoscope for 2022. Now, I hope you will enjoy this video, and then if you do so, please press like, subscribe to the channel. I've put plenty of work to put these videos together, and I also recommend checking out your sun and moon sign as well. However, I will be mentioning information about your sun sign in this video also. So let's get started. Now, let's see, on the year is starting for you with a Venus retrograde. And it will be happening in your 10th house. Now, Venus rules your 2nd and the 7th house. So this Venus retrograde could actually talk to you about your relationship with your bosses, and that needs to be looked at. But also this could be talking about the fact that you attract somehow the attention of authorities. So it might be that you've got a legal case and then you're going to be having a conversation with your judge, for instance, or even with your lawyer. But also it might be just a conversation which I'm going to be having with my boss in regards to having a promotion or having a pay rise. Now, Venus is all about getting comfortable with something. It is the planet of money, and because it rules your 2nd house, this could actually talk about, you know what, I just want to be earning more money. I want to be actually recognized for the hard work I did. Maybe actually you had a contractual agreement throughout your company, and actually you are going to be getting a feedback with that. Also, this could be bringing in some love situations at work, especially if you are single. You might fall in love with your boss, or you might fall in love with your co-worker. I think Venus here, especially in Capricorn, which has got some essential dignities, it could actually also indicate that your partner is going to be actually getting more of a stable status at work. So if you are having some type of creative outlets going on, because Venus rules your 2nd house, actually it could indicate that it's going to start flourishing as well. Now, from a negative perspective, it's very possible that you have to be focusing a lot on your work, and you might take your work home, and your partner won't be happy about that. Okay, it's also very possible that you're going to be judged by the look of yours by others, and you're going to start thinking about, okay, how can I change my aesthetics overall? And it might be your partner who is judging your look, for instance. Or it is about just comparing how much money the partner earns, how much money I earn, and maybe we see a little bit of a deficit there. So that could lead to some type of frustrations. And then you're going to start thinking about, okay, in what other ways can I make more money? Remember that Venus around your midheaven indicates actually that you can use your personal appeal to actually grab the attention from others. And it might be actually that I'm just going to be changing the way I dress. So maybe I'm going to go to the office a little bit more sophisticated, or I'm going to start wearing skirts and all those type of things. And people are going to start noticing you. Because as I mentioned, Venus rules your 7th house. So it's kind of like wanting to get a little bit of a, like, you might feel that you deserve to be looked at in a different ways. Now, of course, the 10th house is something to do with your career status and recognition. And this could be actually a favorable time to get recognized for the hard work you've started. Maybe you started at the end of, beginning of November. That's when Venus is going to be going into Capricorn 2021, and it will remain there for a few months. So you might be getting some type of recognition by the end of the Venus period in the sign of Capricorn. Now, it's also very possible that you're going to start thinking about, you know what, I want to be working with clients. So whether it's beauty or artistic occupations, that's possible. But actually, this could be a period of time when you actually attract clients. Capricorn is all about solidifying, crystallizing things, because it rules your 7th house. Actually, it could talk about, you know what, we start thinking about marriage. I don't necessarily recommend getting married during Venus retrograde, unless you are ready to actually rewrite your vows, maybe a year later or so. This Venus position is very good to recognize in films, or even to get engaged, or if you want to be a model, then this could be actually the time. But also it is just very good to actually start a new health regime overall. Now, the 10th house can actually indicate something to do with your mom as well. So maybe your mom will be experiencing all these type of energies, and the mom is going to be changing her looks in a way. From a mom's perspective, actually the 7th house would be the 10th. So that would be an indication of the mom is changing the job, and maybe I'm just going to have to kind of help her as much as possible. But I think this is definitely about looking at, okay, what am I doing when it comes to the financial matters, how I spend money, what I spend money on, and how is my self-worth. It's definitely about building on your confidence. Now, the biggest change of the year probably is the nodal shifts. And these nodal shifts are going to be happening in your 2nd and 8th house. So the south node will be in the 8th house, and the north node will be in your 2nd house. Now, the north node in the 2nd house is very much about some changes in your financial status. And I would say that especially you've got great opportunities in mid-July, when there is going to be this Uranus North Node conjunction happening. And that could bring a sudden loss as well as a sudden opportunity to invest into something which you're going to be seeing as, you're going to see it as very beneficial later on. It's about improving your well-being. It's about kind of creating comfort around yourself. Remember that the 2nd house is all about tangible matters. So I'm going to be earning the money my way. I'm going to be earning the money for myself rather than relying on a partner, or always listening to others and then sharing what we've got. So there is a little bit of a selfishness involved here, but I think it's a healthy selfishness though. So it could also be just, I've got this desire to make my own money. Kind of like becoming independent when it comes to the expenditure and so forth. So finding new sources of income is very possible during this transit, or at least you're going to have to learn about that. Some of you will increase their wealth, so their profit from the business or profit from work is going to be prominent. Some of you might be just struggling with this, and pay attention to not to kind of compensate that with food, because actually this could talk about increasing your weight as well. But I kind of believe it might be a starting in a new sector, maybe in your department, or maybe just a new sector, kind of like a new field completely. Now, of course, it means that the south node is conjuncting your 8th house cusp, which is definitely telling you that you're going to have to rely on yourself. It's about trusting your own abilities rather than being prompted by others that you should do this, you should do that. It's about, yeah, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be accepting some material or moral support from others, but you're going to have to find the self-worth yourself rather than just being prompted all the time with others. Maybe it's about, yes, I'm expecting a bonus, or I'm expecting inheritance and I'm reliant on that way too much. Kind of this transit tells you that you should not be. Okay, definitely it could talk about some profit from investments. So also it might be talking about what my values are and what my partner's values are, and how we are going to balance those two out. I kind of believe that this north node in your 2nd house can actually unlock some type of changes in your values, and also unlock some of your talent as well. But it's Taurus, so it's all about doing it in a physical way also. Now, the 2nd house does relate to your physical body. So in regards to health or just my aesthetics around it, but you can really influence both in a very positive way with the North Node being here. But then the South Node tells you that you're going to have to release some of your old habits. So old habits as in addictions. Am I addicted to chocolates? Am I addicted to drugs, alcohol, and all those type of things? Or from a psychological perspective, how I will be getting rid of some toxic situations in my life, right? Is that, and then in that case, it's worth having a look at where your natal Mars is, because that might be giving us a little bit of a clue of where that toxic situation comes from. But also Mars will be retrograde in 2022 in your third house. And of course, Mars rules your first, and Mars rules your eighth house, right? So it does talk about a complete transformation when it comes to things like how I communicate with others, for instance. It does talk about getting my ideas ready. So I'm going to be investing into my ideas. My mind is going to be running 24/7. It might be about, you know, that I'm just going to get the administrative things sorted. What the retrograde is always a little bit of a delay. So I might want to start sorting bits and bobs out, but I'm going to have to revisit them. It could actually indicate surprising visits or some type of initiatives from your relatives, siblings, neighbors. You might start actually socializing with them a little bit more. You might actually want to be traveling a lot more. You might want to be in the nature a lot more. North Node in the second house, Mars in the third. It's like walking and jogging. So the third house is very much about movement, tracks, or you know, like some type of physical movements overall. It might be just traveling. You might actually have got the desire, you know what, I'm going to be taking part in a course, and I will be utilizing those, what I've learned, in order for me to make money or to find new ways of money. So this is about kind of like a little bit of a self-marketing, advertising, but it requires plenty of planning also, because Gemini is someone who is collecting the data, sorts out the data overall, but definitely you can be a lot more proactive during this period of time. Now, Mars will be entering your third house on the 20th of August. We'll remain there till March 2023. So it's a 6-month period. Maybe at the beginning of the transit, you're going to have those life-changing ideas, and then you're going to have to alter them while Mars is retrograde, which is going to be happening on the 30th of October till mid-January. Just watch out for your tongue, because sometimes we can say things which we regret later on. Your tongue can be quite sharp, okay? Or you might realize that I'm just writing all these type of articles and essays within seconds, and then you just bombard your audience with, which is not necessarily a problem, but we can make some type of spelling mistakes. Or maybe it's not necessarily based on facts, but it's more about some of your feelings, and that could bring some problems. This could also indicate that I'm going to be very speedy when it comes to getting ready for an exam. So maybe you are going to be having a spiritual exam, right? Let's say you study astrology, and then you're going to have that exam, because Mars rules your 8th house, which is all about occult studies overall. Now, definitely you can easily get into arguments with others. So just watch out for that. Mars rules you at the end of the day, the ruler of your rising sign. So it can make you a lot more restless. You can get into accidents because you are a little bit hasty. You can't stop thinking about whether positive or negative things. Mars also rules your 8th house, so it could be about negative things too, right? Or I'm just going to be confrontational with my siblings, neighbors, or just the relatives overall. You can become a lot more impulsive when it comes to interacting with others. You can actually become aggressive on social media, or actually reading all the social media stuff is going to somehow like frustrating you, okay? Or you can get into trouble because of social media. You've posted a secret, Mars rules your 8th house, about the company you work for, and then you should not have done that. But there is definitely this wanting to win in a mental way, right? So that's where this communicational barrier, or getting across, getting your point across, sometimes with a little bit of a forceful communication, is actually very possible. Watch out for driving during this period of time. Watch out how you talk to people. I'm not suggesting that you should not be honest, but sometimes, like a sword, it can, like, cut the air between you and someone else, and that could be sometimes a little bit dangerous. Now, the another huge change for you, and overall I do believe you're going to have a great year, is that Jupiter will be, yes, at the beginning of the year, it will be actually transiting your 12th house, which sometimes a blessing, sometimes maybe a little bit of a challenge though, because at the beginning of the year, it might be about, I'm going inwards, and that brings me some type of joy or some type of spiritual discovery, which I enjoy very much, or it's about connecting with my higher self or connecting with the higher values overall. It definitely talks about the need to kind of retrieve a little bit or retreat a little bit, and then start thinking about the bigger picture overall, because that's Jupiter. It's a futuristic type of element. It does tell you that you're going to have to listen to your intuition as well, because Jupiter will be making this conjunction in April to Neptune. Right, and this conjunction happened last in 1856, and that's kind of like the birth of psychology and stuff like that. So it might be about the chance to tackle your psychological issues. You might kind of feel that I have been guarding myself for a while, and then how I will be getting out of that. But also it might be just about inviting the guardian angel into your life, who is going to be protecting you overall. It might be about that, what, I want to be staying out of the limelight. I want to be doing my own thing. So I want to be doing writing or research, or I just want to be commuting in the nature if possible. Or you might want to be a little bit charitable, and you want to be helping others who are doing these type of things. So it might be that I'm going to be volunteering in a hospital, or I'm going to be working with homeless people, overall just the underprivileged. And remember that Jupiter does rule your 12th house, so that's something to do with giving up. So watch out for any type of addictions, because that could be one of the negative manifestation of Jupiter being here. I'm drawn to drink alcohol. I'm drawn to, eat a lot more, or, or something to do with drugs and all those type of things. It could actually bring some of your secrets to light as well. This is the house which they call as the self-undoing. Now, what does self-undoing mean? It kind of indicates that you're going to have to get ready for a huge change, because this is the house of karmic closure, right? And it's about kind of like doing a spring clean in your mind, because the 12th house is something to do with your spiritual downloads. It's the spiritual knowledge. So you're going to have to sometimes ignore a little bit the factual knowledge, and then focusing a little bit more on the spiritual knowledge. And Jupiter rules your 9th house as well. So how I will be able to actually integrate the facts and the spiritual knowledge. So it might be about, let's say that you are studying astrology, right? It's about, astrology as in spiritual matters, but also how I am going to use that in my everyday life. And Jupiter actually can do that for you. Now, it might be possible that you want to be going for a retreat, right? And you want to be exploring your dreams a little bit more, or you've got all these metaphysical type of ideas. And those can be quite beneficial for you. There is an element of solitude here, but I would also say that Jupiter will be sextiling your midheaven also. So it does give you the opportunity to work in the background on a project, and maybe that's why I'm going to be retreating, which eventually brings me some type of greatness at work. Remember that the year starts with the Venus retrograde around your midheaven, and Jupiter will be actually activating that for you too, especially if your midheaven, I would say, is somewhere between 5 to 15 degrees. That could be actually very prominent for you. It might be that you just want to be choosing a healing profession. It might be that I'm going to be visiting my doctor or a nurse or a herbalist or just a counselor, because I'm kind of fed up with the traditional medicine, and I want to be looking at different ways of boosting my energy level so that we can get ready by the time Jupiter will be in your first house, right? Which is going to be happening in May. So, it's looking a little bit inwards, becoming a little bit isolated. So sometimes I'm going to be meditating if it's needed, so that I can gain some type of clarity and inner knowledge of the purpose of your life. But I do believe that the real change for you in 2022 is once Jupiter goes into your first house. And as I said, that's going to be happening from May. It's going to be a short visit, okay? It's going to be just a 3-4 month before it goes back into Pisces. But overall, 2022, second part of the year, especially 2023, should be you. And it's all about creating an optimistic outlook on life. I think it's kind of like a lucky break for you. So you should be expecting some boost in your confidence, opportunities for abundance. Probably you're going to be traveling a lot more. You will find these benefactors in your life who want to be kind of helping you, kind of like the Santa Claus type of energy overall. It's about meeting people who will be actually expanding your horizon. So I feel like this could bring in plenty of new changes for you. People who want to be helping you to reach your goals. You're probably going to become a lot more future orientated. So it's all about making plans where I want to be in a year's time, where I want to be in 5 years' time, and so forth. And actually, because Jupiter rules your 9th or the 12th house, relocation can be a possibility. Or I want to be studying something. So I might go back to the university, because eventually that's going to be a life-changing type of things. Also, it can actually help you to get pregnant also, as Jupiter, the natural significator of babies. Now, of course, every single coin has got two sides. So this could lead to overconfidence, okay? This could actually bring you some eating problems as well, because Jupiter expands everything. So we can drink too much, we can eat too much, we can become a little bit arrogant and sometimes a little bit lazy. I usually say that with Jupiter, you should not be cutting corners. So it does want you to work a little bit. Similarly to Saturn, maybe not as hard, but the opportunity is never kind of given to you on a silver plate. Or even if it's given to you, you have to grab it. So just watch out for that type of energy. You can preach quite a lot to others, and sometimes it comes across as arrogant or in an offensive way. Or you might be very protected about your opinions, and so on. So that's also a possibility here. Now, first house is health. So I would like to point out that Jupiter rules your 12th, And in the first, it could lead to mental problems, especially if you can't really get out of that maybe negative way of thinking. Don't forget that the eclipses are going to be in the 2nd and the 8th house, which is overall the self-worth axis. What is my net worth and what is my spiritual worth? And Jupiter will give you the confidence to actually kind of boost yourself. But if there is no trying from your side, then it might be a little bit problematic. I also believe that especially it's going to be a huge topic for those who have got their rising sign between 25 to 28 degree, because Pluto will be sextiling you, meaning that Pluto even empowers you to make these changes, right? If you are in a second marriage, it might be about wanting to get out of the marriage, but also I want to get into a second marriage. That's also very possible. Now, of course, Pluto is Pluto is going to be squaring you, not sextile. So rewrite this in your head, please. So it's a square, which kind of indicates that these transformations, especially career transformations, are not necessarily easy, but it's kind of like a must this time around. Okay, Jupiter will give you the strength for it. Now, those who were born between 21st to 25th, then actually Uranus will be squaring your Mars and Venus in the solar return chart. So those definitely will be having some relationship issues. Mars ruling the 1st house, Venus ruling the 7th house, okay? And it might be that I want to just somehow break 3. Also, at the same time, I can see those, especially who were born on the 21st and the 22nd, Moon will be trining Jupiter as well. So not only Jupiter will be in a good dignity, but it gets brilliant support from the Moon as well. So Moon ruling the 4th house in your chart, actually that could bring especially things like wanting to get pregnant, for instance, or wanting to move, wanting to have something like a relocation. So you guys have got an exciting year ahead. So I hope that will this video helps you to kind of have a greater understanding of your year and how to use the energies. Now, just going back to that Pluto squaring the ascendant, you know, it is very intense. It is the potential for drama when it comes to interacting with others and how we approach certain type of topics. And I think that's the reason why you also have got Mars in the 3rd house, just to be a little bit more mindful about it, okay? Because this could be affecting your friendships as well as your one-to-one relationships with people. Don't go overboard and then wanting to be kind of nasty or seeing everything black and white. So Mars in your 3rd house might be telling you that you're going to have to open up the doors for new possibilities too. So thank you guys, and I wish you a beautiful 2022. See you very shortly. Bye-bye.